morning, fellow seniors. Welcome to another episode of Senior Wise. Last week we talked about the seniors and the impact and the lack of funding for seniors. Today I was going to talk to you about the economic impact on seniors, but something else came up that is much more pressing that I think we need to talk about. And that is the personal impact this coronavirus, Wuhan virus, has on us seniors. The most vulnerable part of the population is the seniors, especially the ones in long-term care homes. I want to talk a little bit about what I've seen personally. And the reason why this came up, yesterday I went to a long-term care home to visit a senior that I've known for a long time. And this poor gentleman, 84 years old, he is very sick. And he doesn't have COVID-19 or Wuhan virus, but he's got another illness. And the family is now grappling with the situation. Are they going to take him off the treatments that he's on because of the quality of life that he's having? So it's very difficult. But nobody there in the home to visit him. So the pastor of my church, myself, I'm a board member, and two other fellow board members, we went and prayed with this gentleman on the outside at the window. So looking at that poor gentleman, and he had his own business, paid taxes all his life, sitting there by himself, all forlorn. I could just picture myself what this poor man is going through. He is partially demented, he's dementia or Alzheimer's, but he is confused, and there was fear in his face. So these people, at the end of their life, were productive citizens, and this is how they have to cope. It was heartbreaking to leave and see him sitting there. In addition, I have 4 family members that are on the front line healthcare workers. 2 work in long-term care homes. One is an emergency room nurse, and one works, in Canadian Blood Services, but still frontline workers. And they tell me a little bit about things, that are going on. One told me that they don't have any cases in his long-term care home, but there's staff shortages. In one case, he informed me that they had 50 patients to look after by one person. Okay, when the call button comes in, they can't get to the patients in time. Inexcusable. Shouldn't happen. Okay. This is what I'm talking about, seniors getting neglected. Okay. And then I'd like to talk about another case. I know a gentleman that is in his 90s, worked all his life, taxpayer. He's in not in a long-term care home, but one of those assisted living homes. They had a situation where there was some repair to be done in one of the rooms or small apartments. A worker came in, did the repair, and a few days later, the couple that lived in this small unit contracted Wuhan virus. See, husband and wife. Well, what did they do? They moved those people to the hospital just because they were ill, and they locked down the entire institution. These poor people, they had to stay in their room all day long. They were brought their meals, but they couldn't move out. They couldn't walk. They couldn't do the exercise. They couldn't go to the room. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't have visitors from their family. This gentleman that I'm referring to, he has one son, one grandson, a couple of adopted grandchildren from his daughter-in-law's first marriage. They all love this gentleman, and he can't see them. So the poor gentleman is by himself, and as time progresses, he hears about more cases, you see, in the home. I think it's up to 20 now, plus 4 or 5 workers are infected. Now just picture yourself what goes through these people's minds, okay? They can't see their families. They're locked into their room. They're hearing that it spreads in the home. It must be awful to live in a situation like this. So, and this is only one home. I feel sorry for these people. Something needs to give. There's millions upon millions of dollars that are going out. What is being done for these seniors in their homes? You see, since long-term care homes are more than 50% of the deaths that we report, the average age of the people that die from this is 81 years old. 90% of the deaths are people 60 and over. These are statistics right from the news media in Canada. So I received a survey from the Minister of Health in Ontario, Christy Elliott, and she politely asked, if you have any recommendation what to do for seniors, please submit. The only thing that I can offer is some managerial advice, because I used to be a manager. So I basically wrote to her that there's 5 things that need to be done in long-term care homes or old age homes to protect these people. They're the most vulnerable and most affected. It isn't the young people, it is the old people. Young people, they survive easily from this, you see, from this disease. First of all, increase the pay for these people in these long-term care homes. Call it hazard pay, call it whatever you'd like. I think that's being done, okay? But all of a sudden, there's all kinds of other groups that are jumping into into the fray. Ambulance driver want to get some money. Hospital workers want to get some money. But these people, most affected, should have been targeted in the long-term care homes. They should have gotten the hazard pay, because 90% of the people that are affected severely are over the age of 60. Then supply sufficient PPE. It wasn't done. That's why we had that many people die in long-term care homes. Thirdly, test everybody in the long-term care home, patients and workers. After you test them, you separate them. You separate the negative ones from the positive ones, and the ones that are positive, separate floor, separate employees that work with the positive patients never cross to the negative patients. That's how you see it spreads. And this is all cost involved, okay? So more money needs to go from the government to the long-term care homes temporarily to contain this. Lastly, because you can't trust anybody, you need to install in each home a manager/overseer that has some managerial skills that makes sure that these points that I've just outlined are adhered to, because you can't trust people. You have to make sure that these poor people in long-term care homes are protected. So there needs to be an overseer in each home. And that's basically what I submitted to Christine Elliott. And I got a nice reply back. Yeah, we received your recommendations and we will get back to you. Nothing. I heard nothing back, okay? I would even volunteer. There's a long-term care home up the road here. since I have a lot of managerial skills, I would volunteer to go there without pay and make sure that everything is being adhered to. And I know a lot of people that would also step up. Because for something like this, there's a solution for every problem. To solve this is very, very straightforward. It's called the DMAIC process. You define the problem, which we already know. You measure doing tests, okay? You analyze the issue, then you improve, and then you control. Control is the most important part. You have to control the spread of this virus, which isn't being done, okay? Let me tell you a little story somebody told me. It isn't us going out for a walk out in the streets that is the problem, okay? And it isn't, right now there's no visitors going in the old age homes, okay? And this long-term care homes. Somebody told me a situation that really troubled me. Somebody that I know works in a hospital with these patients that are sick, COVID-19. One person's been on the ventilator for a long time, probably not going to make it. The person that I know went and talked to the loved one outside and gave them an update. The loved one was coughing and wasn't feeling well. That's the spouse of the person that is in the emergency, not doing well. It was a person 60 and over. And this individual, the person that I know, told this individual, well, you should get tested. Well, no, I can't. I work in a long-term care home. And if they find out that I have this disease, they won't let me work. And I got to put food on the table. Duh. Okay? Now here's an individual that willfully is spreading this disease to other people. And this is what's happening all the time. So I don't know whether this helps, but the government needs to get involved temporarily to control the spread of this to our most vulnerable population, the elderly, in the senior homes. And it's going to take some cash, okay? Yeah, it's wonderful to throw cash at the provinces for all kinds of stuff, for students, for taking care of migrants, okay? $850 million yesterday to the World Health Organization and third world countries to control the Wuhan virus. And yeah, it's all wonderful to send money to people that are unemployed right now. It's all great, but did they really need to be unemployed? Did we need to shut down the whole country? Ask yourself that question. When most of the people that are affected are the seniors in long-term care homes. Those are the ones we need to zero in on. So if just 10% of the money that was handed out would have gone to controlling the spread of this virus in the senior care homes, we wouldn't have had this problem. But it is so slow. There's no containment. When I was working in private industry, the word was contain to make sure you protect the customer. That vocabulary doesn't seem to exist with government bureaucrats. So think about it. Give me your comments about what I just told you. If you have stories similar to what I just told you, feel free to send me a note or or make a comment, because I would like to read some of these on on this podcast. Next week, we're going to talk about the economic impact, because I'm hearing over and over again from all kinds of sources, why do seniors need money? They already get their pension. They don't need anything. But I'm going to zero in on a few points that affects us financially, and that is coming next week. You have a good week. God bless you, and we will see you next week. Thank you.